Pneumopox clade disproportionately affects children. Barney Jolly. Vinod Skaria. The ongoing multinational mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, outbreaks continue to be a significant threat to public health systems across the world. The outbreak that gained global attention in 2022 has persisted, and as of mid-2024, the WHO reports that over 97,000 laboratory-confirmed cases and 203 deaths have been recorded across 116 countries, including the recent one in South Africa, which affected over 20 patients, suggesting that the global outbreak which started in 2022 is continuing unabated. It is concerning that new massive outbreaks emerged last year in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, with significant human-to-human transmission. Over 14,000 cases and 500 deaths have been documented this year. Given the country's ongoing struggle with internal conflict and health infrastructure challenges, this is a cause of global concern, with cases now being reported from almost 10 African nations. The WHO has recently called an emergency meeting with experts in this context, to assess the situation and evaluate whether to declare it as a public health emergency of international concern. The emergence of mpox in the DRC is caused by a new clade of the virus, clade IB, which emerged late last year and is characterized by severe disease and higher mortality. Broadly, the monkeypox virus has two clades. Clade I has been present in the DRC for several years, causing sporadic outbreaks, while Clade II, previously the West African clade, and specifically IIB, emerged during the global mpox outbreak that attracted global attention in 2022. The clades are also characterized by distinct disease severity, with Clade I known to be associated with severe disease and mortality compared to Clade II, which has a mortality rate of less than 4%. The outbreak in the DRC is unique in many aspects. The unprecedented human-to-human transmission in a short period is in stark contrast with previous Clade I infections, which were largely sporadic and potentially zoonotic in origin. While the initial spread was seemingly through sexual contact, the epidemiology of the disease rapidly shifted to affect children under 15 years, who constitute over 60% of all cases and 80% of all deaths, with the largest case fatality rate in children aged less than 1 year. The rapid availability of whole genome sequencing of the virus from the outbreak could provide immense insights into the origin and spread of the outbreak. A preprint has dated the emergence of the outbreak using a molecular clock to September 2023, apart from suggesting mutations in the binding site of primers used in diagnostics for Clade I mpox. A recent preprint analyzing 58 genome sequences of mpox suggests 3 potential clusters, driving the spread of infection in the DRC. Both analyses suggest a significant number of APOBEC3-induced mutations, confirming a significant human-to-human transmission. The emerging situation in the DRC specifically, and in Africa, in general, would potentially result in the declaration of a public health emergency of continental security by Africa CDC, with mpox spread across 16 countries in the continent. While there are many unanswered questions, including what drives the rapid spread and unprecedented emergence of Clade I, the urgent need would be to enable the rollout of vaccines. With only 2 major vaccine producers for the smallpox vaccine, which was repurposed for mpox, and with little emphatic support from global organizations to enable diagnosis and prevention, the world might be awaiting another global outbreak in the immediate future. Molecular surveillance could be the best effort for countries like India, apart from international cooperation and developing indigenous capacity for vaccine manufacturing before it becomes too late. Barney Jolly is a senior scientist at Karkinos Healthcare. Vinod Skaria is a senior consultant at Vrishwanath Cancer Care Foundation and adjunct professor at IIT Kanpur.
What is the meaning of complacency? COMPLACENCY, and illustrate 2 examples of it.
Complacency, spelled COMPLACENCY, is a feeling of self-satisfaction or smugness with one's achievements or situation, often without being aware of potential dangers or defects. When someone is complacent, they might not take necessary actions to improve or protect themselves because they believe everything is fine as it is. Here are two examples to illustrate complacency. 1. Workplace safety. After years without any accidents, the factory workers became complacent about safety protocols. They stopped wearing protective gear regularly, believing that nothing bad would happen. Unfortunately, this complacency led to a serious accident that could have been prevented. 2. Personal fitness. John was in great shape after months of regular exercise and a healthy diet. However, his complacency set in, and he started skipping workouts and eating poorly. Over time, he lost the progress he had made because he stopped paying attention to his health. In both examples, complacency leads to negative outcomes because the individuals involved underestimated potential risks or failed to maintain their efforts.
What is the meaning of emphatic? Illustrate with two examples.
Emphatic means expressing something forcibly and clearly, often with a lot of emphasis or conviction. When someone is emphatic, they are making a strong and definitive statement, leaving little room for doubt about their feelings or opinions. Here are two examples to illustrate the use of emphatic. 1. In a debate. During the debate, Sarah was emphatic in her argument that climate change is the most urgent issue of our time. She made her point strongly, with clear evidence and a passionate tone. 2. Giving instructions. The teacher was emphatic when telling the students that they must submit their assignments by Friday. She repeated the deadline several times to make sure everyone understood how important it was. In both examples, the emphasis is on the strength and clarity of the communication, ensuring that the message is understood and taken seriously.
Emphatic is noun or adjective. What is that?
Emphatic is an adjective. It describes something that is expressed or done with emphasis, force, or conviction. For example, in the sentence, she gave an emphatic response. The word emphatic is an adjective describing the kind of response she gave, one that was strong and forceful.
And what about the complacency?
Complacency is a noun. It refers to the state of being self-satisfied, often to the point of being unaware of potential dangers or deficiencies. For example, in the sentence, his complacency about the risks led to serious consequences. The word complacency is a noun that describes his state of self-satisfaction and lack of concern.
Okay, what is persistently? Illustrate it with two examples.
Persistently is an adverb that describes doing something in a continuous, determined, and often repeated manner, despite difficulties, opposition, or discouragement. It indicates that the action is carried out with persistence and without giving up. Here are two examples to illustrate the use of persistently. 1. In learning, she persistently practiced the piano every day, even when she found the pieces challenging. Her determination eventually paid off, and she became an accomplished pianist. 2. In problem solving. Despite facing numerous setbacks, the team persistently worked on the project, refusing to quit until they found a solution. In both examples, persistently emphasizes the continuous and determined effort made in the face of challenges or obstacles.
If somebody says elevated food prices, what does it mean?
When someone says elevated food prices, they are referring to food prices that are higher than usual. The word elevated suggests that the prices have risen above what is considered normal or expected, often due to factors like inflation, supply chain disruptions, or increased demand. Elevated food prices can make it more expensive for people to buy groceries and other food items.
What is disinflation?
Disinflation refers to a slowdown in the rate of inflation, meaning that prices are still increasing, but they are doing so at a slower pace than before. It's important to note that disinflation is not the same as deflation, where prices actually decrease. Instead, with disinflation, the rate of price increases is reduced. For example, if the inflation rate drops from 5% 3%, that's disinflation. Prices are still going up, just not as quickly as they were before. Disinflation can be seen as a sign that inflationary pressures in the economy are easing.
Okay, what is bottomed out? BOTTOMED out.
Bottomed out means that something, such as prices, a market, or a trend, has reached its lowest point after a period of decline and is no longer likely to go any lower. It often implies that from this low point, things might start to improve or stabilize. For example, the housing market finally bottomed out after several years of declining prices, and now it's starting to recover. After months of poor sales, the company's revenue has bottomed out and is expected to pick up in the next quarter. In both examples, bottomed out is used to indicate that the lowest point has been reached and a change in direction might be coming.
Okay, narrate a story with all these words.
Sure. Here's a short story incorporating the words you asked about: complacency, emphatic, persistently, elevated food prices, disinflation, and bottomed out. Once upon a time in the bustling town of Marketville, the local grocery store owner, Mr. Thompson, noticed that elevated food prices were becoming a serious issue. The cost of goods had been steadily rising for months, and it was starting to hurt his business. Customers were buying less, and some even began shopping at distant markets to find better deals. Mr. Thompson, however, fell into complacency. He believed the situation would correct itself without much effort on his part. Prices go up and down all the time, he thought, persistently ignoring the warning signs. His attitude was that things would eventually bottom out and prices would return to normal. One day, Mrs. Jenkins, one of his regular customers, approached him. She was emphatic in expressing her concerns. "Mr. Thompson, you need to do something. Everyone is talking about how expensive your store has become. People are leaving, and soon there won't be anyone left to buy from you." Despite her strong words, Mr. Thompson was slow to act. Meanwhile, economists on the news were talking about disinflation. The rate of inflation was slowing down, but prices were still high. This meant that while things weren't getting worse as quickly, they also weren't getting better as fast as people hoped. Finally, after months of persistently high costs and customer complaints, Mr. Thompson realized that his complacency had been a mistake. He started negotiating better deals with suppliers and offered discounts to loyal customers. Slowly but surely, prices at his store bottomed out, and as the effects of disinflation took hold, his business began to recover. With renewed energy, Mr. Thompson worked persistently to win back his customers, ensuring that complacency would never be part of his business strategy again. And so Marketville's grocery store returned to its former glory, with happy customers and reasonable prices. And that's how Mr. Thompson learned the importance of paying attention to economic trends and listening to his customers.
What is the meaning of flagged the risk?
Flag the risk means to highlight or draw attention to a potential danger, problem, or issue. When someone flags a risk, they are pointing it out so that others are aware of it and can take steps to address or mitigate it. This term is often used in business, finance, project management, and other areas where identifying and managing risks is important. For example, the financial analyst flagged the risk of investing in the new startup, citing its lack of a proven track record. During the meeting, the project manager flagged the risk of delays due to potential supply chain disruptions. In both cases, flagging the risk is about making sure that everyone involved is aware of a possible problem so they can plan accordingly.
Okay, great. So what is spillover? What does it mean? Illustrate it with 3 examples.
Spillover refers to the effect that an event or situation in one area or context has on another, often unintended or secondary. It's when the impact of something spills over from its original area and affects something else. This term is commonly used in economics, business, and environmental science, but it can apply to various contexts. Here are 3 examples to illustrate the concept of spillover. 1. Economic spillover. The economic crisis in one country can have a spillover effect on neighboring countries, as reduced trade and investment can lead to economic downturns in the entire region. 2. Environmental spillover. Pollution from industrial activities in one area can cause a spillover effect, contaminating nearby rivers and affecting wildlife in surrounding ecosystems. 3. Social spillover. The rise of social media in one part of the world had a spillover effect on global communication, leading to changes in how people connect and share information across different cultures and regions. In each example, the term spillover is used to describe how the effects of one situation extend beyond its original context and impact other areas.
What is the meaning of enduring prices? ENDURING, enduring price, PRICE.
The term enduring prices or enduring price generally refers to prices that remain stable or persist over a long period, despite various changes in the market, economy, or other factors that might typically cause fluctuations. These prices endure, meaning they do not change significantly over time. However, the exact meaning can vary slightly depending on context. Enduring prices. This could refer to the general concept of prices that are stable and consistent across different products or services over time. Enduring price. This might be used to refer to a specific price point that has remained constant or resilient over time for a particular product or service. Price. In general, price refers to the amount of money required to purchase a good or service. For example, 1. Enduring prices. Despite the economic turmoil, the enduring prices of basic commodities have helped maintain consumer confidence. 2. Enduring price. The enduring price of this luxury watch has made it a safe investment for collectors. In these examples, enduring emphasizes the stability and resilience of the prices over time.
How can I use the word TENUOUS?
The word tenuous is an adjective used to describe something that is very weak, slight, or insubstantial. It often implies that something lacks a strong foundation, is barely holding on, or is uncertain. Here are a few examples of how you can use tenuous in a sentence. 1. Relationships. The alliance between the two countries is tenuous, with both sides struggling to trust each other. 2. Arguments. Her argument was tenuous at best, relying on assumptions rather than solid evidence. 3. Grasp or hold. He had a tenuous grip on the ledge, barely managing to hold on until help arrived. 4. Connection. The connection between the two theories is tenuous, with little concrete evidence linking them. In all these examples, tenuous conveys the idea of something being weak, fragile, or barely sustainable.
What is downstream?
Downstream is a term that can be used in several contexts, each with a slightly different meaning. 1. In a physical or geographical context, downstream refers to the direction that a river or stream flows, typically toward the mouth or end of the water body. For example, the pollution from the factory spread downstream, affecting communities living along the river. 2. In business or economics, downstream is used to describe the later stages in a process, particularly in industries like oil and gas. In this context, it refers to the refining, marketing, and distribution of products derived from raw materials. For example, in the oil industry, downstream operations involve refining crude oil into gasoline and selling it to consumers. It can also refer more generally to processes that happen later in a production chain. For instance, the downstream effects of the new regulation include changes in consumer prices and product availability. 3. In supply chain management, downstream refers to the flow of products and information from the manufacturer or supplier to the end customer. For example, improvements in the upstream supply chain can significantly impact the efficiency of downstream distribution. In all these contexts, downstream generally refers to something that happens later in a sequence or flows away from the source.
What is RATIONALE?
Rationale refers to the reasoning or justification behind a decision, belief, or action. It's the set of reasons or logical basis that explains why something is done or why a particular decision is made. When someone asks for the rationale, they are asking for an explanation of the thought process or reasons behind a certain choice. For example, The rationale for increasing the budget was to ensure that the project could be completed on time. She explained the rationale behind her decision to pursue further education, citing the need for career advancement. In these examples, rationale refers to the explanation or reasoning that supports the decisions being discussed.
Narrate a story with all these words.
Certainly. Here's a short story incorporating the words tenuous, downstream, rationale, and rationale. In the peaceful village of Rivertown, nestled along the banks of a winding river, life had always flowed smoothly. The villagers depended on the river for everything, from drinking water to irrigation for their crops. But one day, the harmony of the village was threatened. A large corporation announced plans to build a factory upstream, far from Rivertown, but close enough that any effects would eventually be felt downstream. The village council was concerned. They knew that anything happening upstream could have significant consequences for their village. At the next town meeting, the village elder, Mr. Thompson, spoke with great concern. "We must consider the rationale behind the corporation's decision," he said. "They claim this factory will bring jobs and development, but we need to think about the downstream impact on our river and our lives." Some villagers, eager for new opportunities, were swayed by the corporation's promises, but others were not so sure. One of the younger villagers, Maria, pointed out the tenuous nature of the corporation's promises. "Their assurances seem weak," she said. "What happens if they can't keep their word? Our village could suffer." Despite the corporation's repeated reassurances, the villagers couldn't shake their concerns. The connection between the factory and the supposed benefits seemed tenuous at best, with too many risks involved. After much deliberation, the council decided to oppose the factory's construction. Their rationale was simple. The potential harm to their village's water supply and the environment far outweighed any short-term gains. They knew the river was their lifeblood, and any threat to it, however tenuous, was a risk they could not afford to take. In the end, the corporation chose a different location for their factory, far from the river that sustained Rivertown. The village continued to thrive, its waters flowing pure and clear, a testament to the wisdom of considering all rationales and the downstream effects of decisions. In this story, each word plays a key role in illustrating the villagers' careful consideration of the situation and their ultimate decision to protect their way of life.
What is sacrosanct? SACROSANT.
Sacrosanct is an adjective used to describe something that is regarded as too important or valuable to be interfered with or changed. It implies that the thing in question is considered sacred or inviolable and should be respected or protected at all costs. For example, in many cultures, religious texts are considered sacrosanct, meaning they are treated with the utmost respect and cannot be altered. The freedom of speech is viewed as sacrosanct in democratic societies, and any attempts to curtail it are met with strong resistance. In both examples, sacrosanct conveys the idea that something holds a special status that makes it untouchable or immune to change or criticism.
Yunus will oversee 27 ministries. What does it mean?
The statement, Yunus will oversee 27 ministries, means that Yunus will be responsible for managing, supervising, or coordinating the activities of 27 different government ministries. In this context, oversee implies that Yunus will have a leadership or supervisory role, ensuring that these ministries operate effectively and in alignment with the overall goals or policies of the government. In practice, this could involve making key decisions, providing guidance to the ministers heading each ministry, and ensuring that the ministries collaborate effectively with one another.
What is the meaning of athleisure? ATHLEISURE.
It seems like you might be referring to athleisure, spelled ATHLEISURE. Athleisure is a fashion trend that involves wearing clothing designed for athletic activities in non-athletic settings, such as casual or social occasions. The term is a blend of athletic and leisure, reflecting the combination of comfort, functionality, and style. Athleisure clothing often includes items like yoga pants, leggings, sweatshirts, sneakers, and other sporty apparel that can be worn both for exercise and as everyday casual wear. For example, athleisure has become increasingly popular, with many people choosing to wear comfortable leggings and sneakers not just to the gym, but also when running errands or meeting friends. In essence, athleisure is about blending fitness and fashion, allowing people to stay comfortable while looking stylish in their everyday lives.
I won't be at peace until I get that. What does it mean?
The phrase, "I won't be at peace until I get that," means that the speaker will continue to feel restless, anxious, or unsettled until they obtain or achieve whatever it is they are referring to. It implies that the desire or need for this particular thing is strong and is occupying their thoughts to the extent that they cannot feel calm or content until it's fulfilled. For example, if someone says, "I won't be at peace until I get that promotion," it means they are very focused on getting the promotion, and they will remain uneasy or dissatisfied until it happens.
What is the meaning of spill out? SPILLOUT out.
Spill out typically refers to the act or process of something spilling over or out of its container, space, or boundaries. It's similar to spill, but emphasizes the movement or overflow beyond a confined area. Here are a couple of ways spill out might be used. 1. Physical spill out. There was a spill out of liquid from the container after it was knocked over, causing a mess on the floor. 2. Crowd spill out. The event was so popular that there was a spill out of people into the streets as the venue couldn't accommodate everyone. In both cases, spill out describes something exceeding its limits and moving beyond where it was originally contained.
What is the meaning of startling? STARTLING.
Startling is an adjective used to describe something that is very surprising, shocking, or unexpected, often in a way that causes someone to react suddenly or with alarm. When something is described as startling, it catches you off guard and might provoke an immediate emotional response, such as surprise or fear. For example, the news of the sudden resignation was startling to everyone in the office. The startling noise in the middle of the night woke me up from a deep sleep. In these examples, startling conveys the idea that the event or situation caused an abrupt and strong reaction due to its unexpected nature.
Womanhood was a bit startling. What does it mean?
The phrase, "womanhood was a bit startling," suggests that the experience of entering or understanding womanhood was surprising, unexpected, or perhaps overwhelming for the person. It implies that the transition into womanhood, or the realization of what it entails, came with unexpected challenges, emotions, or changes that caught the person off guard. This could refer to various aspects of womanhood, such as the physical, emotional, or societal changes and responsibilities that come with it. And the phrase indicates that these aspects were more surprising or intense than anticipated.
What is gushing over? GUSINGOVER.
It seems like there might be a slight misunderstanding or typo with the word "zoozing over." This phrase doesn't appear to correspond to a common English term or phrase. Could you clarify or check the spelling? Perhaps you meant something similar, or there might be another word or phrase you're thinking of that I can help explain.
GUSHINGOVER.
Gushing. Gushing is an adjective or verb that describes the act of expressing something with excessive enthusiasm, emotion, or praise. When someone is gushing over something or someone, it means they are speaking about it in an extremely positive, effusive, and often exaggerated way. For example, she was gushing over the beautiful flowers her friend sent her, saying they were the most gorgeous she'd ever seen. He couldn't stop gushing about the new restaurant, praising the food, service, and atmosphere. In both examples, gushing over indicates a strong, almost overflowing expression of admiration or excitement.
What is intricacy? INTRICACY.
It seems like the phrase entry KC in TRICAC 5 might be a combination of terms or codes that don't form a commonly recognized phrase or concept. It could be a specific reference to something like a code, a part of a larger system, or a specific context that isn't widely known. If you meant to refer to something specific, like a technical term, a product code, or a concept from a particular field, could you provide more context? This would help me better understand and explain the meaning. Otherwise, it's possible that there might be a typo or misunderstanding in the phrase you're asking about.
INTRICACY.
The word intricacy refers to the quality of being intricate, which means something that is very detailed, complex, or complicated. Intricacies are the small, fine, and often complicated details or elements that make up a larger structure, system, or design. For example, the intricacy of the lacework on the wedding dress was breathtaking, with each tiny thread perfectly woven into an elaborate pattern. Understanding the intricacies of the legal system requires years of study and experience. In these examples, intricacy highlights the complexity and fine details involved in something, whether it's a piece of art, a system, or a concept.
I ran errands. What does it mean?
I ran errands means that you went out to complete various small tasks or chores, typically involving going to different places. These errands might include things like going to the grocery store, picking up dry cleaning, mailing a package, or stopping by the pharmacy. For example, I spent the morning running errands like picking up groceries and dropping off a package at the post office. In this context, errands are those everyday tasks that require leaving the house and often involve moving from one location to another.
I ran errands and seemed content pushing the cart in Sam's Club. What does it mean?
The phrase, I ran events and seemed content pushing the cart in Sam's Club, suggests that you are involved in organizing or managing events, which can be a demanding or busy role. Despite this, you find satisfaction or a sense of peace in the simpler task of pushing a shopping cart around Sam's Club, which is a large retail warehouse. It implies a contrast between the busy, perhaps hectic nature of running events and the more mundane but content experience of doing something ordinary like shopping.